this is a very harsh topic. I'm not here to sugarcoat this for you. I'm not here to where we go on a dissing and bashing people, because I'm telling you where the power is. And this is not to diss my brother and say, oh, you not worth it. Well, why we here, Diva? Well, why? As I've said, when we go back and talk about the Anunnaki came here, and according to historical documentation, scientific documentation, biblical documentation, they created a set of beings. However, we didn't create them for protection. They weren't created for protection, and I'm ready to go into that. Once again, I'm going over the hard truths about the male and the female, the hard truths. But they created a being according to all of this documentation. But the documentation also shows that there was another being already here on the planet before they got here. I'm going to give you some biblical information. You remember when Cain killed Abel, and there was this whole thing about Cain saying to God, or really the gods, because there were at least 3 gods there, Enki, Enlil, and the sister. But he said, well, what about the others? You know, if you kick me out of here, what about the others? Well, what others? If there's Adam and Eve, and then there's you and your brother, what others? That's just one of the things that shows you there was other beings already on the planet. Also, when you read the Book of Enki, the Book of Enki talks about how when Enki got to the planet, because Enki was one of those beings that liked to do science. He liked to splice things together. He saw, hey, there's some other beings on the planet. I think I could create another being to do this work for us. Now, y'all need to go read the Book of Enki, because you know what movie is very much in line with the Book of Enki? Avatar. The movie. Avatar is very much in line with what happened in the Book of Enki, whereby these beings come to a planet and they see another being on the planet, and they splice that being with their DNA so that they can communicate with the other being on the planet. It's very much like Avatar. Go and read the Book of Enki, and then go back and look at Avatar. Avatar is a documentary. All of the trees that have been cut down on this planet. There's a video called There Are No Trees, or There Are No Forests on Planet Earth. Find that video on YouTube, and it's going to give you a good understanding. Once again, Avatar is a documentary. Okay, so getting back to it. When we're talking about the male, the question is, were males created to protect? Let's pay attention. And I know a lot of people get ready to get upset with me, but males are not providers, protectors, nor rearers of children. They never have been, and that was never their intent. Their intent was to do the work and to spread seed. They were sex slaves. The same way the woman became a sex slave in marriage. The same energy she ended up bearing is the same energy she put on him. If you read the Bible, there are stories in the Bible about how the males came to the castle and they serviced the women. You know, they had to beat around the bush in the Bible when they say these things. But that's what their purpose was. When we're talking about Pharaoh, the term Pharaoh means the woman's house. Now they just say, oh, it's the big house. No, it originally meant the woman's house. That was her house. He was servicing her. And because of the energy that she put out on him, well, she got to receive that energy. She's got to receive the same energy that she gave to him. And so now, when we're talking about a male, he has taken over like a genetically modified parasitic being would do. And this is not a diss. Again, I'm just telling you who you're dealing with. He took her over. He took her place. And I need this to be clear. Originally, when you go and do your research, it was spirit, woman, child. That's the order. Spirit, woman, child. He took the place of God. Man, woman, child. That's not even natural. Y'all gonna be upset with me. I'm just telling you what the facts are. Originally, it was spirit, woman, child. He took the place of God or spirit. He put himself in a place. He exalted himself to a place where he wasn't supposed to be. I'm just giving you the facts. So when we're talking about protection and whether or not he was there to protect, that wasn't his role. And if you look in nature, and again, I go back to nature because everybody wants to act like what we're doing in this society is natural when everything we're doing in society is 180 degrees opposite from what nature says. 180 degrees opposite. Everything man creates is opposite of nature. Everything. All right. So when we're talking about nature, when you look in nature, who is it that does all of the providing for the child, does the hunting in nature? And I know some of y'all, oh, well, we're not animals, Diva. Well, that's not what science says. You got these vessels, the Y chromosome, X chromosomes. So when we're looking in nature, who's the one that's making sure that they're providing for the child? That's the mother. She does all of the hunting. We're talking about lions, lionesses, and it doesn't matter, squirrels. It's the female that does the hunting and the providing for the child, even when you talk about dogs. When we're talking about who's going to protect that child, a lioness comes up upon a gazelle or a giraffe. Who's the only one that's going to put their life on the line for the baby giraffe? Who is the only one? Is daddy going to be there? No, daddy is going to be at the front of the line trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Let's be 100 and understand in nature what really happens. Who puts their life on the line to make sure that child is in good order? That's the mother. Who is it that does the rearing? That's the mother. When we're talking about lions, for example, I talk about lions, done a lot of research on them and watched them. She don't like to leave her babies with him. She'd rather leave it with the older females of the pride. Same with elephants. The females surround the child. The males be wherever the males be. But when it comes to the babies, they with the village. The village. And that's where we came from as women, as a people. When you're talking about Khalifa tribe and the Amazons, the village. And the problem is that as men took over, this whole thing called marriage came into play, where the woman went into slavery to the male. That's what marriage is. And I've talked about this before. I get it. Y'all, some of y'all women have glamorized, and I'm not trying to tell you, oh, don't be married or get married. At least one of the things that I've told you, if you're going to get married, don't let the state be in your marriage, because now they own your whole, your marriage and everything you own or you think you own. But when we're talking about marriage, that is when she went into slavery to him. When we're talking about even the marriage certificate, it is where he took ownership of her, and that's why you take his last name, because you become his property. We talked about what commerce is, and if you look up commerce, you're going to find sex or intercourse, because that marriage certificate gives him the right to do commerce with her across state lines. What is family? As a matter of fact, let's go to husband. Husband is a manager of farm animals. Well, what's his farm animal? Where? His wife. Okay. And then when she gives birth to his family, and when you look up the etymology of family, you find slaves and servants. Again, I'm not making this up. I need you to go do your research. He took over the role where he wasn't supposed to be. She went into slavery to him. He wasn't supposed to protect her, because let's understand, when there's violence or danger coming, in most of the cases, the woman is bringing it. Oh, I'm getting on the spiritual side now.